After receiving the largest NBA contract in NBA history, Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics was asked a question about generational wealth, and this is what he said.
Well, that's a great question. I want to launch a project to bring Black Wall Street here to Boston. I want to attack the wealth disparity here. I think there's analytics that supports that, stimulating the wealth gap could actually be something that could be betterment for the entire economy. With the biggest financial deal in NBA history, it makes sense to talk about one, your investment in community, but two, also, the wealth disparity here that nobody wants to talk about. It's top 5 in the U.S. It's something that we can all improve on. It's unsettling. And I think through my platform, through influential partners, through selected leaders, government officials, a lot who are in this room, that we can come together and create new jobs, new resources, new businesses, new ideas that could, highlight minorities, but also stimulate the economy and the wealth gap at the same time. I think that could be a mix of commercial entities, real estate, residentials as well. Boston could be, a fully integrated, self-sufficient, hub, attacking minorities and stimulating the wealth gap. I think Boston could be a pilot, not just for wealth disparity here in the U.S., but also for around the world. So you asked me what I wanted to do or what I want to do. One, I want to, attack that wealth gap here in Boston, create a project. Also, I want to help stimulate the overall economy, and I want to bring Black Wall Street here to Boston.
I really loved his response, and particularly, obviously, the part about building Black Wall Street. I'm starting to hear a lot more entertainers and athletes talk about economic empowerment, group economics, which is something that's really, really dear to my heart. I've always been a proponent of group economics, love stuff that's been put out by people like Dr. Claude Anderson. And the more I put out content, you'll see that that's something that I really hark on, is us trying to work together to do better. In regards to the Black Wall Street, which is why I'm making this video, is because it's something that I've been in the process of trying to attempt in a particular city in New Jersey. I'm not going to mention which city because, I'll leave that alone, but you'll probably figure out where I'm talking about. But several years ago, we're in 2023, I attempted to reach out to a particular municipality in Jersey to start looking at acquiring large vacant plots of land to develop, to pool resources and start building affordable housing, as well as looking at other economic catalysts, businesses that will help in our neighborhood so we can have something for us, by us. And seeing that this city was primarily African-American in this region, as well as within the municipality and within the administration, I was like, all right, this is a good place. I own property in the city, several properties actually. So I was very familiar with just the lay of the land. So I started developing just a strategy and looking at where something like this could be developed. I'm not sure how many people know or can see this, but each city has city-owned property and lists them publicly if they want to start turning those properties over. Usually they have a property management department that handles this. I reached out to this particular city to see what available properties could be acquired and got a decent sized list in return. So then the next step was I pulled together, you're not gonna be able to see this, but it's called a plat map. It's a city map that you can go and get that just basically highlights different sections of the city and just gives you vital information on the boundaries of properties and goes into detail just really on how the city's broken up. Got that put together, really quite nice presentation to present to the property management department. Took a little while, unfortunately, because this particular property management department, the head of it wasn't really easily accessible. I reached out at least a dozen times, at least, until I decided that, okay, I wasn't getting anywhere with him, so I had to start pulling some strings and getting some assistance through other departments, people that may be a little more influential. So I reached out to someone I knew at the Department of Economic and Housing Developments, and then he reached out to the person in the property management department, and then finally, miraculously, I got a callback. Sat down with the guy there and basically highlighted several properties I felt were ripe for development that were and even the Black-owned bank. I reached out to several minority-owned banks to be a key partner in something like this, and actually received several banks looking to possibly support on an endeavor like this. But when I went through the list of available properties with the property manager, I was noticing a pattern. Each one of the more desirable properties somehow was already spoken for, or something along the lines of some developer had already expressed interest and submitted a LOI, which is a letter of intent. Years later, almost none of those properties have been developed on. So what I noticed was basically they were warehousing the properties for deeper pocket investors from New York. There's nothing really I could do about that, but at the same time, I spoke to other people at administration and just expressed my frustration. And even today, I still have conversations with them, seeing if some of the parcels are being released. But someone like Jaylen Brown, with his notoriety, access to capital, and some support, it seems, from the city of Boston, I think can make some significant headway. I personally have spoken to friends of mine who are in the development space in a lot of different cities. I have friends in Alabama, Houston, Philadelphia, Miami. Just having a roundtable sometimes with them to see what kind of hurdles they're facing. And a lot of it does deal with the administration. You really do need a very pro-minority development administration that will open some doors for you, who will support you, that will allow you to proceed at a decent pace, as well as throw in a lot of key economic assistance, whether that be tax breaks, whether that be lower cost of land acquisition, which will go a long way will help them with development. I think will play a significant part in anybody who wants to undertake a Black Wall Street. But it's something that we need to do, we have to do, but it's just really something that we have to look at strategically and from a group economic standpoint, push forward. And I just love hearing it. I love hearing more entertainers and athletes talking about it. And as we keep going along, I want to hear everyone speaking about it to the point that we actually develop something like that.